Yes, one up. Okay, so yeah, so some of the skills that you need really as a web application developer, you start with, I think you start with kind of good analytics. You know, when I was a kid, I was a kid that always loved to take apart stuff. I used to have a parent buying me their full car, 2 minutes to be mad at the park, no need. I'm trying to put it back together perfectly. Those are stuff, and you don't have to have necessarily those skills. Those are really good skills to start having. You just try to have analytical sense of how to do it. And like I was saying, obviously HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You want to be able to have those fundamental skills. Also, you want to go to manipulate database. There's all different databases out there. There's MongoDB, there's MySQL. Learn how to do it. Version control. Version control is actually a big thing, especially now. I have 2 or 3 different people working on an application. You want to be able to merge the code together very easily, and version control around it. Also, doing command prompts is really good for web application building too. Nowadays, a lot of people going to work called front-end development, and command prompts and knowing what different commands are really important. So, choosing the content. What do y'all think are some of the factors that you would think about choosing a content? Let's say you have a web application. What do you think are some of the stuff that you would want to have to use to choose content? Yes, that's a dope. That's a dope result. Documentation.
Free open source.
Well, that's great. So yeah, so choosing a content management system, one of the big things you start with is application type. What are you specifically trying to do? Are you trying to build a small application maybe for friends to use, or are you trying to build next to it? That's going to figure out what type of content management. Knowledge of it. Let's say you have a team that's going to do it, or maybe you're trying to learn it. What's the ease of use of the ability that you can learn that system as quickly as possible? As Aaron was saying, is it open source or commercial? Basically open source. It's free versus maximum. So that's kind of there's also community. Community having a community of people, developers, is going to be very, very important when you're choosing this team. Also documentation. Documentation is a huge thing. As a developer, having documentation and knowing where to find questions, knowing where to answer them is going to be huge when you're choosing out community is important to me because I want to have a community of developers that know that specific app, so you can ask questions. I'll figure it out. I'll realize now, especially with confidential communities, that it's great. They have a Slack group set up for it, and that's great to go ask a question I think. So that's why I say having community is important. Also, some of the confidential community, as you know, I think is others. So that's why it's easier to find. So why I personally love Omnify. So Omnify is not just an open source documentation system that we use. One of the big reasons I love about it is really easy to use as from a user perspective. Usually like it because you're able to edit content directly on the screen. I'm going to show that. Alright, so let me stop talking and I'm actually going to start showing you some actual stuff. So let me start doing that. So, right, this is designing the site. This is going to be built with Omnify. How do you like to do it with Omnify? Pop up. Yeah, I thought that made and this is kind of what we do. So if you want to log in to our site, we just type in login. And we have a back login page. Yes, we're logging to the CMS now, we're logging to the back end. So now you'll see most of the position you see is going to be a bar. And now this is what they call the edit bar. You're allowed to edit, you can edit content directly on Let's say I'll pass and might say, hey, I need to update this specific one. What you do is you get on the edit button up here. You hit this page, and it'll throw the page into edit mode. And as you see, as you go over, you'll see kind of this green outline, and you're able to start edit any of those pieces of content. Okay, so let's say we want to edit this content. You click on the block. And we can edit this specific content by directly typing. Another really cool thing that I personally like about Config is it's drag and drop. So meaning, let's say, for example, if I wanted to put this content here, I can drag and drop those areas to where I want them to. Now, as you see, the page is all screwy now. So there's automatic version control built into Config as well. If I wanted to not save this page, you can click on edit. And it'll ask if I want to version this page. You can put your comments in and say, you know what, I don't want to version this page, I want to discard the changes. And we can discard those changes and we'll put the site back exactly to the way that it was. And I'll put the site back to where it was. So another cool thing about Config is they have what they have little blocks. They call blocks. So what you can do is you can add specific pieces of content to a page by dragging and dropping and blocking onto a page. So let's say, for example, we have all these blocks that are here on the side. Content block, no block, and so on and so forth. So let's say I'm tapping, drop it onto the page. It's going to ask me what type of image I want to choose. We have a specific image library that I've loaded all our different assets that are already in. We just click on, one of our images. Last, we want to add that image. If you want to add a link to the image or alt text, you click on add, and it adds the image. And so that's one of the power, really, of Config. You have all these different block areas, and what's cool is for some of the developers in the crowd, Config, you can build out these custom blocks yourself, just like you build out custom models. You can build those specific things out. So let's say you want to add functionality to the site, you can build those out. There's also a very strong, to show you the Config website. So if you go to config.org, it's, like I said, it's an open source site. You would just basically download a version of the latest version of Config, it's completely free, and you can start playing with it. So let me show you kind of the back end, and I'll show you what, to me, makes Config 5 really powerful. And I think some of the developers in the crowd will like this as well. It's kind of easy to use because a lot of us use different things. So I think showing a version of Config 5 and showing the back end would be pretty good. So,
Is there a way to make the font slightly bigger?
yes, I can.
Oh, thanks.
show you this project. So this is the back end, specifically for C5 that I just showed you for our site. This way it just pops up and then we'll go through some of it. I had an idea to show y'all another app we're working on for a client, but then I realized it's not far enough along and just see enough stuff. So basically, when you download Concrete 5, zoom that in a little bit, is that a little better? All right, so when you look at Concrete 5 for the first time, you're going to get 4 specific folders. You're going to get applications folder, the core Concrete 5 folder, you'll get the packages folder, and you'll get updates. Right? So Concrete 5, I'm sure y'all figured out, is going to be the core files for the Concrete management. Those are going to be where all of our CSS and theme files and PHP and things like that will all reside. Inside the applications folder, which is pretty cool, the applications folder allows you to override anything that's in the Concrete 5 folder without touching it. So when you go to actually update Concrete 5 through updates, it never actually touches the stuff, the custom things that you specifically do. So for the theme that we're running, well, let me back up a little bit. So in certain content management systems, the look and the feel of the site. So in a content management system, the look and the feel of the site is basically called a theme. That will be kind of what you're seeing with the pictures, the fonts that you have, the colors and things like that. Inside Concrete 5, we go inside the applications folder, we go inside themes, and look under SDA, that's the name of our theme that we have. We're going to have a folder in here that holds basically all of our assets specifically for our specific theme. We have a CSS folder, we have an elements folder that has all the different PHP template elements inside of there. Our images folder, which is pretty self-explanatory. Our JS folder is going to have all of our JavaScript inside of the folder. And we're going to have our SAS folder. And I won't go into too much into SAS tonight, but that's our SAS folder. And each one of these are template files. So when you look at the default page, this is actually the default page template for the home page of Stuart Design Agency. So if we look at it, and I'm going to pull up just a little code. Let's go back to the home page. And we pull up developer tools. If I pull up our developer tools, and we actually look at some of the code. So if I look at, that's kind of hard to see. So if I can zoom a little bit. If we look at where this class right here, this container right here says container capabilities container. If we go back to our actual theme itself, we'll see that that is actually this right here. So what we're doing is I created a structure, and anytime you see a PHP kind of include that's here, that's where we actually drop the content in. So that's how you start building out specific themes for Concrete 5. And this is very similar to a lot of content management systems that are really out there. This is how you would actually start going about building those specific types of themes. You can also, what's also very powerful about Concrete 5 is there's a very large community of developers that develop for Concrete 5, and they have a various amounts of plugins. We go in the marketplace, and we go to add-ons. There's a large community of add-ons, some are paid, some are free, that can extend out the functionality of Concrete 5. Let's say, for example, you want to have, maybe email integration or something. Maybe you want to have more functionality with forms. There's all kinds of different developers that have created those modules already. And let's take it even a step further for some of our developers. If, let's say, for example, a lot of times you might have built out a specific page, and you need to change the structure of that page, but it's a plugin that's creating that HTML. What you can do with Concrete 5 is actually create what they call a template override. And what that does, it will override the existing template that you have on that page. And what does that really look like? If we go into our applications folder and we go into our blocks, inside the applications folder, we have this blocks folder, and each one of these are our template overrides. So if I want to override a button, what we do is we find the view.php file, and I can change the functionality on that specific item and not be able to touch anything else in the actual concrete file for. So that means when someone's updating the site, we can just basically update it and we'll never touch any of the changes that we made as a developer to make that site specifically to what you want. So that's in a nutshell, from back here. So that being in a nutshell is kind of a quick tour. For Concrete 5, I know I kind of did it kind of quick. There's a ton more to it. You know, you can really get down deep into the weeds. There's a ton of different things that you can really build out with it. There's something that you can build out with it. So if you have any questions this time, if you have any questions about it, if you have any stuff you want to add or anything else, go ahead.
So like with the portfolio, you know, starting out, would you, I mean, this might be a question for everybody.
No, go ahead.
Would you suggest using Concrete 5 in your portfolio, or should I be building out these web applications from scratch?
So I would tell you, if you're starting out and just learning, start from scratch. You need to learn like the basics first. So you probably just take, like my first site I ever did was straight HTML and CSS. You know, I put it up on a web host for $5, and that's what I did. As you go over time, when you start developing your skill set, you start understanding why you need these things. You know, so I would say start from there. Just start from the basics, get the basics down, and then move into actually trying to build out, build content.
So what were the benefits for you to use Company 5
So for me, I look at it from an end user perspective. A lot of my users are, a lot of people I build sites are mostly like mid-tier businesses, maybe like around 30 people, maybe there's 2 or 3 content editors. They don't necessarily have the budget for $1 million Google site, right? But they don't want something basic as Squarespace or WordPress or something like that. So Concrete 5 is a good medium in between. The development time for me is a lot lower than it would be with Drupal or something else, so I can spin up the site a lot faster. Also from the user perspective, anytime I show that, they're like, oh, I love it. And every time I do a demo for it, people say they love it and they get it. So that was my thing about it from the user perspective. A lot of times you just get people that just want to get their job done with the content up, and Concrete 5 is such.
So who is somebody that they say they like is on Wix.
Yes.
So would you consider Wix like
So Wix is kind of like, if you need a quick website to kind of put up, that's what kind of Wix is for. When you start getting to the point where you have multiple users, you're going to have a lot of people hitting up the site. You're going to need version control and things like that, and you want to have control over that. That's when you start going with an actual CMS. Wix is kind of something where it's still, in a sense, it still kind of control it. Yes, everything can get stuff easily, but with, like, for example, with Concrete 5, I have specific web hosting that's for that. I can actually get to the back end and see all my back end code and manipulate that stuff. So Wix and those type of things are more for like smaller websites. This starts getting into where a Concrete 5 site can handle maybe 2,000 or 3,000 pages. So I've seen sites do 1,000 pages with Concrete 5. Maybe like for something like as big as eBay or something like that, they couldn't use Squarespace or something like that. It just wouldn't work for them.
Yeah, so what do they want to do smallish commerce?
This is a good platform for it, because e-commerce stuff, you want to control the e-commerce. Like in fact, there's a company we just talked to that's that wants to do some e-commerce stuff. He has a shipping business that ships stuff all overseas. And he has actually a website now that does some flooding stuff, but he feels he can't have as much control over it. And when I showed him the stuff that Concrete 5 does, and we have an e-commerce plugin for it, he's like, yeah, this is because he wants more control. His business is beginning to grow, and he wants more control. Yes, that question?
What sites online now do you know of that can use concubines?
The Yamaha.com site, probably the biggest one. There's a bunch of them out there. We want to do research for this project. I actually found a lot of really good ones. The Yamaha.com site. I'll jump back to my slides real quick if y'all want to take a look at it.
Can you show us the site?
Sure. And just to give you guys a really good idea. So Yamaha Motors, they have a pretty big site that they're doing up for Concrete 5. This is all the latest version of Concrete 5 that they're doing. They have a lot of like custom integration stuff that they're doing. As you see, they have full flyout menus. And they have news and editing. And you see it's fully responsive. And you see how their responsive stuff goes. And this is core Concrete 5. They're not even doing, when I was looking through this to see what they were doing, they're not even doing that much custom integration stuff. It's really out of the box Concrete 5 stuff with just some CSS animations here and there. So they're really doing core kind of Concrete 5 stuff. So I thought this was a real good example of a large scale Concrete 5 stuff.
Does Concrete 5, so nowadays, like a lot of people are using CMSs in a headless way, so they're using it just for the content management and they're extracting the data and building their own app for the front end.
Mm-hmm.
Does Concrete 5 have a built-in API, or is there a plugin that you can use to get like a JSON API?
So what they're doing now is, it's funny, I actually talked to the people that and the latest version get API calls for different things, and you can talk about these kind of things. And kind of what we're talking about is when you talk about headless content management system, what that means is the entire back end handles all the information, and the front end of the site is completely separate from that. So in most content management systems, they're all intertwined. The front end and the back end is essentially intertwined. That just means they're not intertwined. There's an API call between the two of them to try to allow, and what it basically does is allows you to say, if I want to site up, I can just use basic HTML and CSS, make that site, have the integrations between the two, and then talk to each other there. Concrete 5 models could do it. There's like a really great developer doing it. Since it's so user focused on kind of ease of use, headless might not make that much sense for it. But it's funny, there's every month they have this big kind of user group that comes through for Concrete 5 and kind of in it. And they've kind of talked about how they've accomplished that because they have a large scale Army client. Just to show this, they have a large scale. I can't think of the top of my head, but they had a contract with the Army for a real large project that they did, and they were talking about pulling that and making that heavy. That's another real good one. I wish I could show, I just can't remember it off the top of my head. Anyone else have any questions or anything else? Or yes, go ahead.
So you
So responsive design, well, for our company, and nowadays pretty much with every project, all projects pretty much responsive. Responsive is mostly held by the front end, though. So that's going to be HTML. That's in control more of the front end with that. Pretty much every site nowadays, every site we build is completely responsive. All the images are responsive, the entire site. But that's more held on how we code than we design. Does that make sense?
the learning curve for someone who new coding or hasn't code before? 'Cause I tried doing, or just learning WordPress, and it seems like, this has a lot of different flows and whistles with drag and drop. So would you say, it would be easy, like you can, like with themes?
I don't say this is easier to learn. With WordPress, and I did WordPress development too. WordPress was originally to start off with a content, start off with a blog. And then over time, what happened is developer groups and a lot of developers in the community ended up hacking WordPress. Those hacks ended up going to the core of WordPress, and that's how WordPress became about. It never was regenerated as a content. Concrete 5 was built up as a content from the beginning. And that's why a lot of stuff, the ease of use stuff that you're seeing with the coding, is because those guys, they actually started off using WordPress in their company, and they created Concrete 5 out of frustration with using WordPress and things like that. And they created Concrete 5 based on that. Yes.
I guess to add on to the responsive question.
Yes.
Did you have to do a separate piece of code to code for mobile, or was that already inside of?
So let's show that a little bit. So that's actually a really good question. So our site is obviously completely responsive. Adjust, right? On your menus. So how does that specifically look in code? So in code, and I'll go a little bit deep. So here, and I'll kind of do this high level. So before that I opened there, that's what we call SaaS. SaaS is a subset, think of it as a subset of CMS. You're allowed to do a lot of more custom stuff in SaaS. The issue with SaaS is web browsers cannot read SaaS files. I'll get to how to relate to your question. They cannot read SaaS files. And you have to have some sort of compile SaaS files back into CSS. So to make things responsive, if I look in if I look in a file, and if you look under here, you'll see anytime I have an include that says large, that's where I'm specifying where my breakpoint is for that content to make it responsive. So let's say I'm at 140 pixels for my site, and I want to switch it down to 960, and I want to ship something. This is how I start doing it. I write something different. Now, what I'm doing with SaaS is that include large is actually what we call a media query. The media query itself, I'm writing a variable to the media query that's there. I'm writing an actual specific variable, so that targets that media, that breakpoint, if that makes sense. So large size would probably be, I think I have it coded 1440 pixels. The next size down, I think I have tablet, which is 996 pixels. And what I'm saying by pixels is the screen size. And that's how you start coding for a specific screen size. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so you are doing back-end coding when you're using this.
So this is just normal. Now, here is just normal HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This specific file is a SAS file. I'm not going to, I was saying SAS kind of subset of CSS allows you to write more robust CSS. It kind of is a little bit of a programming language in itself, but long story short, this allows you to write better CSS and maybe a little more monster, so it's easier for us. Good.
Does it has SAS support out of the box?
No, I program.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
I just use Go and stuff. It's just enough. I'll show you that too. I just use a normal Go file and just use a normal Go and
what's the stack here? What's the
it's PHP based.
Okay.
So it's your normal, it's like a Google,
So my web stack.
exactly same thing.
MySQL in the back end or
Yeah,
Postgres?
MySQL back end. Same thing, you can write SQL statements, you can go in there and look at the databases, just like you would do. It's really, to be honest with you, it's a better version of it. It's a more thought out version of it, in my opinion. Yeah.
That's a fundamental question.
Sure, go ahead.
Just when it comes to web development application,
Yeah.
HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, are you always using them together? When you're
Yes.
building web? So they always have to, so you learn each individual, the JavaScript, you learn CSS, and then HTML. You
Well,
learn to use all.
when you're talking about learning it from a learning standpoint, what I usually tell people is to start from basics. We're going to start understanding what HTML is. You understand what HTML is. Once you understand how to mark up a page in HTML, then we would move over to what CSS is. Think of HTML as structure, CSS is the presentation. So that's how you make it basically. Now, if you want to add additional functionality, that's what JavaScript is. Now it allows you to do some flying and things like that, as you can see as well. But they all go together. But I usually tell people when they're starting off learning that way. That's the order I use.
There's no other language that you can use outside of JavaScript with HTML?
No, there's a ton of others.
Oh, so you can use other languages with.
For example, with this content mentioned is actually built in PHP. So I use a framework called Laravel that we use, but it's actually built with PHP. So PHP is a pretty powerful programming language, but the front end, the presentation level, is all going to be HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's what you're basically using.
Okay, you'll always hear those three together, so I was wondering.
Yeah, you'll basically all get those three together.
CMS, and I always get PHP mentioned.
Yeah.
So what exactly does that particular language do when it comes to CMS?
So PHP is just a programming language you write. You can write in, there's a ton of different content management systems out there that are written in different languages. You have ASP.NET, that's another programming language that writes for content management. PHP, JavaScript, content management. You can write and read whatever you want. It's just PHP kind of ends up being one of the kind of dominant programming languages, and that's what WordPress is written in. And WordPress basically has about 25% of the CMS market on the web. So that's kind of the predominant thing. But I think where the industry's going is probably going to go going away from PHP stuff. There's so much legacy stuff out there that it's not going away.
I guess you could say, on that topic, like I guess you could say that like PHP is more specifically like for server-side scripting and
Yes.
like transmitting like data and or what you call like cookies between like pages or between like the the web app and the server itself and
Exactly.
retaining data stuff. Like for example, like in a shopping cart, like an online store too.
Exactly. PHP allows you to do a lot of high-end functionality that you wouldn't be able to do with HTML or what you wouldn't be able to do with JavaScript or something. So that's where those other programming languages come in. They allow you to do a lot more robust things.
So like, for the first project, for like, I have a friend that how would I use a CMS to create that, or would I just create it from scratch?
You can, like I said, in your specific case, I would probably tell you from scratch if you want to learn it. You're trying to learn how to build something out. That's what I would probably say to do. Just build out straight HTML and CSS and go from there. Because learning something like this, I've been doing this for 13 years, so it comes kind of natural to me for a while to pick up a CMS. But when you're starting out, it's kind of been a little complicated, to be honest. But if you get the basics never change, to be honest. So once you get those basics, you can take that and start building everything else. Anyone have any other questions or anything else? So if anyone has any questions, thank you for coming out. This is my email address. Check out the website. If you have any questions, I'll answer it pretty quick. So if you have any other questions about anything else, pick my mind about something, I'll be more than glad to get out there.
You go to the slides?
Are
you gonna post
Yes, I'll post the slides too. I'll put them in the Slack channel and post them. And thanks everybody for coming out.
Hey, Wayne, do you mind going through like how you set up your host? Like, are you adding Concrete 5 to your hosting solution?
Oh, yes. Good. So I use a hosting solution called Emotion Open. And so what he's asking me is basically where's my site living long story short. So I'm gonna kind of just show a little bit of where it kind of lives. So what I would have a hosting provider, we do emotion hosting, so I have a reseller account with them. So with my clients, what we do is I can set up as many cPanels as I specifically want. And let's say let's say you set up a site and say, hey, I want to host with you. I'll just spin up a new cPanel and give you the login, and then you can go in and log in, you can do whatever you want. And then I just have I have a dedicated amount of server space for that. Slow, but yeah, so it's just normal, like, you can use FTP to go in there and put the server files. If you want, what I'm working on now is being able to use Git to put all my files in there instead of having to use FTP, which for our developers in the group, it's called FTP, file transfer protocol. You can put those type of sites, those files up on a web hosting, but it takes a lot longer with the FTP than other ways. So a lot of us kind of look for other ways to make it faster, and that's what I'm kind of doing.
Also, if anybody's looking for any systems work in motion, they will move you down to Virginia Beach and they'll train you.
Yeah,
give you a stipend. But you will work in sort of a modern day sweatshop. I mean that, but
I want to try and say
but you will learn like that ticket quotas and everything. It's kind of sucks, but they will pay for you to relocate and they will train you. But while you're working, you will be working hard. So just if you're looking for something,
that's so
fun. You know. Mostly Linux server support.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you're basically hosting help desk for people who run for businesses like Wayne's. I don't know how to answer phone calls though, which is good. Right? I think you only have to do tickets, which is nice. Answer phones is terrible, but you don't mind just logging into something and grabbing some tickets and fix the problems.
So yeah, so what I just do is I log in my cPanel, with my file manager, and Concrete 5 lives there. That's where Concrete 5 lives. So that's file manager, and that's where it is. You'll see some other stuff that's in there, you know, like you'll see some other stuff that's kind of a little more technical. You'll see like my take more files, my easy access files in there. I'm actually starting to work on not using FTP anymore. We're working on using like SSH protocols and stuff like that to actually be able to use version control to push all my changes up. But I haven't had time to really sort it out. I'll probably go home.
You should check out Travis CI or Circle CI.
No, I haven't tried them yet.
You should try.
Yeah, but they have a custom integration in Emotion.
It'll help.
Yeah, no, he's right.
Get out immediately.
But yeah, but you can, this is how I do it, and then usually I have a dev site. For all sites we set up, we have a development site and my site we set up, and then I have a developer funny enough, he works in I met him at a conference, one of the Concrete 5 conferences, super developer, and he's in Spain. I was like, hey, do this. By the time I wake up, it's not. Because it's on different time zones. And so I give him access to it, and he goes and does what he needs to do. It's pretty cool. But we need to start working on being able to kind of streamline the process. With a lot of the bigger agencies doing kind of copying a little bit and kind of incorporating to us. So that's kind of the back end a little bit, but you can go into your cPanel stuff and create multiple domains. You have your PHP MyAdmin. If you want to see kind of how the databases actually look, just to show from that, you see what this is. So for some of the people, so this is the actual database that you're seeing in the back end of the site. And each one of these are tables. And this is where you're, on any site you see that has a database, this is where your content's living. So let's say you have a password or something inside of it. This is where it is. it's written somewhere here, but there's certain encryption methods and things like that that allow the average person not to be. But that's what it is. Our DBs in the kernel, they pretty much don't do that. Anyone else have any other stuff in the C or I can literally talk about this all night. So. Anyone else have anything else? Yeah, I'll be I'll be around. Please email me if you have anything else, and network. We'll talk to you.
Nope.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much, Wayne. I'm very happy that you're able to make the time to come and talk to us about this. How many of you actually currently use web applications with content management? Like, show of hands. What do you currently use?
We build off of Drupal. It's not good. Drupal's not good, so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I work with the company.
This is cool.
So, you talked about Summary 5, and you currently use Drupal. Anybody else? Content management system,
Yes,
Okay, so between Drupal, WordPress, and Summary 5, which one do you guys feel is more viable or more effective?
You want to answer that, or you want?
For me, only because it has the largest community, so it has a lot of support. Is just Drupal. I mean, not Drupal. It's WordPress.
Yep.
You kind of find whatever you want. It may not be the best way to implement it, or
Right.
someone's figured it out. So if you kind of want to do something like cool, you can probably figure it out in WordPress.
Right.
That's why I would say WordPress is fine.
Okay, anybody else has worked with any content management system? I know not everybody knows right now is a web developer, but I think it's very useful information. You guys, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I only played around with WordPress when I was trying to teach myself how to code, just to see how the code works. But seeing your demonstration, it seems like it's cool with Company 5 because of the drag.
Yeah, and
The
that's,
drag
yeah.
stuff, right, yeah. That's awesome. Anybody go ahead?
I'll say, I mean, I worked with WordPress before, and I hate WordPress.
Yep.
Why do you hate WordPress? I want to know.
So, when you talked about you saying how like WordPress didn't start off as a content management system, it kind of grew into one, and that kind of shows.
Mhm.
And it's why kind of all the other newer ones are much better because they were designed to start competing content management systems rather than something that just has all this like legacy appendages from when people were doing like running blogs with them.
Yeah.
It seems kind of convoluted when you go into the back end.
Yeah.
It's really hard to figure out what goes there.
So
Yeah.
with the thing with WordPress is WordPress right now has 25% of the sites that are on the web, 25% of them are WordPress. So you're thinking that that's billions of websites, right? So you still have to support that community because there's just so many of them out there. But the reality of what's happening is those sites are beginning to crumble. I do so many people that are like, I'm frustrated with WordPress, or companies that are like, we built a WordPress site, it sucks, how can we fix this?
Right.
I'm not sure. Let's just start over, fuck those sites, and we'll just do Concrete 5. We'll just start from scratch, and we'll just do Concrete 5.
So do you think Concrete 5 was really designed to be a content management system?
So the company that designed it is a company called Portland Labs. They're out in Baltimore. And the two guys who started it.
Sorry, let's get the name for everyone.
Oh,
Who started it? Yeah.
so the company that started Concrete 5 were two guys, Elmer and Han, I'm not sure exactly. And they were WordPress developers. They started, well, one started was a WordPress developer, the other one doing like in Time Splash. And they were frustrated with using WordPress. And they ate up one night and began building out the early versions of Concrete 5. So they built it with the theme of, we just have these people and we want the easiest way for someone to be able to get there. They can go in there, drag and drop, but they don't have to know all these things. And as they kept building it out, a community kind of came around. And then when they decided to release it as an open source project, that's when how it took off. Now the agency, they have a web agency that's pretty big. It's only about 13 of them now, but they're a $1 million multi-billion dollar company.
Right.
They do large scale sites, for the Army. The Army saw this, their demonstration, and loved it, and they took, all of the Army sites that are for like, intramural sports and everything else, they took them and, built it all at Concrete 5. So they have like this ongoing 10-year contract with the Army to build all this stuff with Concrete 5, plus other stuff they have. So Concrete 5 it's not as known, but me looking at the back end and me looking around and being a developer, it was just refreshing to see some of the stuff that I've been like, finally, someone understands.
Yeah,
And that's what I got.
that's great.
I have a question for you.
Sure, go ahead.
Question, right? How long have you been developing?
13 years.
Okay, so when you become proficient at what you do, right?
Mhm.
Where do the roadblocks come for you now? You know what I mean? So-
Every day.
But what part of the process, you know, because if you've done so many, what becomes a roadblock for you when somebody asks you for something specific on the website? What's going to make you stumble or make you think or make you have to reroute to get to the common goal that the client wants?
Every day. I'm not even just telling you every day. And what I mean by that is client requests are crazy. You know, like I will also work for full-time for regular people. So we have client requests that are ludicrous, and we have to tell them like we can't do it.
So give us an example of like a limitation in the content management system that you're using, which is Concrete 5, your client.
For my client, a limitation might be if they're doing something super large scale. It might be, and I would only say that would be a hindrance just because of the back end perspective. And what I mean by that is more like DevOps stuff, like Rare Notes. It would be more Concrete 5 would be set up for high level DevOps applications, like how maybe Drupal is. And what that means is I wouldn't be able to scale out. So having something like as big as NBA.com or Twitter, Google can probably handle. Well, Concrete 5 probably put it in stomach. It's getting to that point. I think it's going to happen, but it's still. I think they're good at where they're at. They've kind of figured out their niche. They're kind of this mid between WordPress and Drupal. I think it's kind of like that.
So give us example of use cases of using a web application with Concrete 5 specifically.
So I have a client right now. The client is based out of Atlanta. They're a genetics firm called BMT Genetics. And they are trying right now, they have an older version, of Concrete 5. Really good, so now they have, the company kind of grown, and they have 3 or 4 users that have been using the site. They have content editor, and they want to do some stuff. I don't know what's involved. So they want to have 3 users use the site, but have different permissions for each one of those users. So one user might have the permission to say, I can edit the blog, but we may not want to give the other user that permission to edit them. That's where the user cases are coming into Concrete 5, where I can set up meeting permissions for the user. They also want to be able to log in and have a login for clients to log in, where a client can see certain pages where the average person couldn't. That's what we can do. Without me, that was more than.
Thank you. Any questions?
Anyone else? I'll go ahead.
You said Concrete 5, WordPress, and Drupal.
Yes, sir.
Can you choose which one you're comfortable with, or you have to learn this?
No, you learn whatever you want. Now, you can learn whatever you want, but I guess what is your end goal? What I mean by that, if you want to get paid as a really good developer, especially in this area, Drupal, this whole area is stepping back. And what happens is now Drupal has basically taken over as the main federal government CMS. The company that Aaron works for, they basically do all of the work. The company I work for does all of the work. We do Drupal work 24 hours a day because all the federal government is going towards that. So from that perspective, if you're trying to get paid, Drupal in this area is good. Right? If you're trying to maybe a small website for someone, WordPress is fine. You know, that's a good way to learn. Concrete 5 is a good option too. So it just really depends on what your personal end goals are and what you want to do. Just one more.
I have one more question. So if I am new to web development, or I am a web developer, and I want to use Config is it free to set up, download? Okay,
Definitely,
okay.
just go to company5.org site, you download, you hit that download button, it will click in the zip file, you unzip it, and bang, there's company.org. Now, obviously, there's other stuff you have to do as well, to get the details, but that will be the core of company. And there's a lot of documentation out there for company as well. There's a really great developer community. I can help write some of the documentation for company. So I'm actually helping writing some. So a lot of times when something's wrong, now go back and fix it or look at that and then they come. It's a real good community. The guys that are in there are some of the smartest developers. That I know. I can tell them something,
So for anyone that wants to kind of, test out Config 5, what would you say the preliminary skills for Config should they have? What do you need to have some kind of proficiency level in programming language?
You would need you would, at the very least, you need HTML, basic HTML knowledge, basic CSS knowledge, and basic JavaScript. You need at least those to understand really what's going on in the field doc. Now, in all fairness, if that's on a development phase. If you're just a person that just wants to get a site and you have some web hosting space, we don't need that. There's actually custom themes already built in the marketplace. So it's just like how you would in WordPress, you go hit theme, click on it, you install it, and it's all through the interface there, and you can start building on the site when you want. So it just really depends on your comfort level, what you want to do. I just approach it from a development standpoint. And when I look at my users, and when I look at my clients, I kind of advocate for them, meaning I want them to not have to worry about technology. That's my job. I just want them to be able to do what they have to do on the web, edit their content, and not have to. And my job is all that.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, one last question.
So how much design?
I do, so a little background. So I was trained as a website designer back then. So I have a bachelor's degree in business administration. I went to Maryland University. And then about 2 or 3 years, I was big into sports at the time. I was a big sports guy, and I wanted to work in sports management. So I ended up getting a job at Columbia, now called Washington University. I'm in the sports athletic department, we have sports stories, like the basic stuff. And that's how I kind of learned coding from there. And then that's how I started kind of after my contract ended there, I said, I can actually go back to school. And I found a community college program that is kind of really immersive. And I wanted to learn, CSS, JavaScript. And I knew I wanted to learn and took those classes for 2 years. And by the time I was a year and a half out of the program, I started with a job and found a full-time job and started going to school at that time. But yeah, that's what
I was thinking you got something like Squarespace, but I was always thinking if you can just kind of build out their own. Obviously, I guess you need development, you need more complex stuff. But if I see people who they'll charge somebody to do something like Squarespace or maybe like some smart code versus like what you got.
So from a design standpoint, what I also do too is I also partner with other firms. There's some firms that don't do any design work, they just do hardcore development. And they're like, I don't want to do any design. So they'll hire us to do design. I'll come in there, sit in there, the client meetings, and be like, hey, this is what I designed out and want to let you go. But that's easy work for me now, that's easy work. And then let them just go develop and let them do whatever they want, whatever system they want to do. But for smaller sites, I tell people, my niche is more, I'm B2B, so business to business. I don't deal with that. I mean, of course, I'll do a person that needs to build out a site, but my prices are just going to be higher. Now, I have to tell them, hey, go use Squarespace. But if you need really higher level functionality, then you probably want to start talking about doing stuff. And most businesses that really know the power of the web, that's why.
Wow, that's awesome. So guys, let's give them a round of applause. He said something that I think really is stands out. You know, if you wanted to get into web development, of course, you kind of need to understand the basics of HTML, CSS. So, I mean, as you know, today is speaker night, so thanks very much for coming through. We do have studies with night where we have Doug, Aaron, and Kwame teach the basics of web development. We started with HTML, CSS, and creating a simple resume and pushing it out. So if you're interested in learning more, you want to sharpen the skills, you want to come to our study with night. So thank you guys for coming. The night is over. Just have some pizza and call it a night.
All right.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
I have some things to talk to you about first, Joshua.
Sure, no problem.
So, I know you sent that link about the, you were talking about, posts on our website, on our Facebook page.
Yes.
And I was thinking if we just had like a single day we wanted to post